I tell you that the money is being spent this month, the money is definitely being spent. Hey you guys, it's me. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a budget update. So this is going to be from October 1st to October 10th. If that sounds interesting to you, be sure to stick around and check out the rest of the video. First things first, I categorize my spending into about 6 different topics, which consists of bills, debt, wants, food, misc, and then savings. So savings in this category, this isn't my normal monthly savings. So one of my bank accounts, it just automatically deducts money from my checking account and sends it over to my savings account, and I just never transfer the money back because it is always smaller amounts. With those categories, here are the actual percentages, and I'll put it up on the screen. So bills accounted for 50.3% of the money spent thus far. Debt accounted for 28.8%. Wants accounted for 12.3%. Food 4.7%. Misc 2.1%. And savings 1.8%. So I know you're like, yeah, the percentages are nice, but girl, how much money did you spend? So on the bills category, that came up to $1,893.83. So within that, I had to pay one of my utility bills, my HOAs, and then my mortgage. The debt category, that came up to $1,081.71, and that consisted of an additional student loan payment, which I'm right on target to reach my goal. My student loan payments actually come out on the 11th of each month, which is, so nice, so fun. And then the rest of that was a $750 payment to my actual credit cards. I'm still contemplating on if I'm just going to pay the whole $6,000 or just, aim for the $4,000, because it's so early in the month and that's already the money that I've contributed. And I'm just wondering, hey, next month it would be nice if I didn't have to shove out all of this money to go to my credit card, and then I can just focus on putting that money towards my student loans. I'm not feeling any type of way about the amount of credit card debt that I have, because I said most of that is because of an investment that I made back in late September, which I feel the investment that I made will bring me back more than what I actually spent for that. So I'm just like, do I just want to get it out the way? Am I just going to take money from my emergency fund and then replenish that to a certain extent? I just keep going back and forth. One thing I do know is that I am going to pay the $4,000 minimum. So within that of itself, I just want to make sure that initially I just want to take as little as possible from my emergency fund to go towards that actual $4,000. And it's simple. Go to work more. Do a little overtime. So I've been telling myself that too, to get back, on it, the grind, all that good stuff. My wants category, that came up to $462.51. So it's just like, I do feel a certain type of way about this category, because I'm just like, wow, that could have been not the whole 462, but I'll even go half. So I could that could have been $230 that went to debt versus wants. But within that, I went out to eat one day with my friend. I purchased an Echo Show 8 because it was on sale and I've been wanting one for a long time. Not a valid excuse, but I did it. So that also, I took my nieces to the orchard here and we picked some flowers, and they didn't like any of the pumpkins there. And of course, they had rides and kettle corn, popcorn, and all that good stuff. So I thought that was a good experience for them. And then some other stuff throughout the month, but yeah, that accounted for the $462. So it's very early in the month to have, you know, some of these things occurring, but at the same time too, now that I'm really tracking, because I always track my expenses, but now I feel I'm really tracking my expenses just because I'm going to be spending such large amounts of money each month. I do want to be able to put as much money to debt as possible. So as I said, out of the wants category, I definitely feel like $230 of that could have easily been spent towards debt. So hopefully the remainder of the month I do better. The food category, $175.59. I'm perfectly okay with that. I typically allot myself about $200 every 2 weeks or $100 a week. So I'm right on track for that. And I feel the purchases that I made will last me much longer than that. So I don't really see myself spending the entire $400 this month. I'll probably end up being somewhere around like $320 or so. I end up buying like some bags of chicken and fish, and I had some steak, and then I already had some stuff in my refrigerator, so I'm just utilizing those things too, trying to just be more mindful and intentional about the things that I have, not just the produce but the meat as well, to make sure that I'm not being wasteful, because sometimes I feel I just buy things from the store and they just sit in the fridge until the expiration date, and it's just like, why? Side note, in college, I used to live right next to this Vaughn, so I would stop pretty much every day and just get whatever meal I was going to eat for that day, and that turned out to be great. But you know, that is not me anymore. I don't live that close to the store, and I didn't really have much going on, so I could afford to go to the store every single day after work and all that good stuff. I mean, after school and basketball practice and all that. So going on to the misc category, that was $77.25, and that included like some parking, that includes some tips that I gave out from appointments that I had scheduled, and then I can't think of what the other things are, but that is the category. Well, that is the total for that category. And then the last thing that I have is the savings, which is $68. So as I said, this is not my major savings. My major savings is automatically deducted from my paycheck and just goes to its own separate high yield savings account. So this $68 is just, you know, the bank looking at my account, and I guess based on my spending habits, they deduct a certain amount of money and then just transfer it over to my actual savings account. That's perfectly fine, and I just never really touch that money unless I'm using it to go towards something towards my house, because in that particular account, that savings is designated for things that happen in my house. But that brings my grand total to $3,758.89. Overall, you know, I'm really excited about this month. I have quite a few things that I want to accomplish, and I'm really pushing myself to do those things, take away from the excess wants. I hope that the next time that I come and speak to you guys, I'm like, hey you guys, I only spent $30 on wants. And that would be okay, because the wants, I consider it to be like a personal category. So within those wants itself, I also had my mani-pedi in there, and then I had like some hair care products, and then I had toiletries. No, toiletries was in the mist. That was the category that I put the toiletries in, because I had to get like washing detergent and all that stuff, and it usually runs out around the same time. But it's just, you know, if I'm not aware of what I'm spending and how I'm spending it, I will just spend. And I know that I will just spend because the older version of me, like very early on in budgeting, I feel that that is something that I did because I look at my bank account and I'd be like, oh, you know, there's $300 in here. So then when I go in the store and I see the Echo Show in there that's on sale for $60, normally $130, I'm just like, yeah, you're fine. You got that. But I've said this before and I'll continue to say it. Just because you have money in your bank account doesn't mean that that money is free to spend. Sometimes that money is in there because you have a bill coming out in 4 days and it accounts for some of that. Sometimes you have that money in there just kind of as a buffer, not just for you to spend money but off of impulse. So that is something that I continue to work with. It doesn't happen often, but I say it at least happens twice a month where I make like an impulsive purchase. Now, it is nothing too crazy, so that $60 is probably, you know, it's typically less than $100. So adding that up, that's around $200 that I'm just spending extra a month. And it's like, oh, and then sometimes I try to justify those things like, oh, well, you're not in the red and you have this money and that. And it's just like, that's not the point. I'm looking into establishing sound financial practices that will get me to my desired result down the way, which if you don't know, it's to be a multimillionaire. So within that of itself, I know that there are some things that I need to fine tune and tweak, because I honestly believe like how you handle your money, regardless of how much or how little you have, is the true indicator of how much wealth you're able to accumulate over your lifetime, which is why a lot of the times you see these doctors and these nurses and these lawyers who are making really good gross/net incomes, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck. And that's because their day-to-day financial practices are out of whack and they don't align with everything else that they have going on besides spending. That is the only thing that they are true to. So therefore, they're always going to spend the money they have because that's the highest value. For me, that's not the case, but I come on here and, you know, I talk about some of the things that I go through and experience in the hope of helping someone else out. But yeah, that pretty much sums up today's video. But on the side note, if you're still here and you're still watching, as a reminder, on Sundays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will be going live to answer any questions you guys may have about my personal budgeting strategies or techniques, or me and my own fitness journey. But as usual, I want you guys to take time to enjoy your own journey, and I will catch you guys in the comments into the next video. Bye.